Let's talk about Gen Zs. These are the ones who are in school now. They're the ones who are going to college now. And this is a generation that just basically is different. Somebody who's dealt with them is our next guest. She is a career coach and dean of students at the Nairobi Institute of Technology, Aswani Aseka. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. Yourselves?
We are very well ourselves.
Yeah, so nice to be here again. Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Asante
You tell us
sana.
the kind of interesting times you're having being a career coach and mentoring this young generation of people who are finishing high school and getting into college and coming to Nairobi Institute of Technology. What is it that you tell them? What do they tell you in return? But first, CT, please give the coach today's proverb.
Yes, our proverbs
I was waiting for that.
come from the Republic of Seychelles. It is not worth adding water to the sea.
It is not worth adding water to the sea.
Wa. We.
We?
Yeah, it's not. I'm supposed to do what? Do a postmortem of that?
Well, not really.
Give us your interpretation.
Just tell us how you
Interpretation
understand
of
it. Yes.
What does it say to you?
There's enough water in the sea and no more drops needed.
Well, you put it very well, actually.
Okay, that's obvious. So what's the inner meaning of this?
I don't believe in inner meanings. I believe in
Surface level.
like if your cup is full, your cup is full, and that's just about it.
If it's not full, then what is it?
Half empty.
Okay.
Or empty. Completely.
No. That is the adverse level of it. Yeah.
Okay. Aswani, the Nairobi Institute of Technology, what is it, by the way?
Nairobi Institute of Technology is a middle-level college, privately owned, established in 1997, and offers courses in the built environment and digital space. Built environment, I mean architecture, quantity surveying, civil engineering, masonry, plumbing, tiling, interior design, and fashion design. Digital space, I mean graphic design, animation, and digital media. At NIT, we thrive in not only building careers, but also molding and hand-holding students who will take the name further than we have come. Yeah. So if we train you, we expectant that you will come out of it and throw back something very positive to the NIT name.
Right.
That is NIT.
What do people graduate with?
Diploma level and certificate level. Yes.
Certificate to diploma.
Yes.
And as a dean of students, what's your job?
My job is to keep them happy. My job is students' affairs. My job is to understand them from the point of entry, guide them to the right choices of their careers, and walk them through the entire course and follow through after they graduate and see where they are and how they're doing. Yeah.
So the average age of the students that you're dealing with is what, from 17, 18?
17, 18 to 24, 25. Yeah. That's a traditional student. But we now have courses that actually attract students from 27 to 38 to 50, which is the technical courses that we offer in masonry, plumbing, and tiling and carpentry. Yeah. So you get someone who's gotten into the fields of maybe build design, and maybe digital media design, and then they realize they need other technical skills, and they come in to do plumbing, masonry, and the likes. That way, we don't restrict age. Like we are Gumbaru, we are everything.
From entry level to wherever.
Yes, but mostly we are mostly Gen Z.
Okay.
Yes, like you mentioned before.
This Gen Z,
yes.
Who are they?
Gen Z is the people we are raising at the moment. Gen Z is the proper, not teenager, but campus-going child who knows their rights, who thinks they have a right, and who wants to show you they have a right.
Are they different from previous generations?
Yes.
How so?
As a not even as a dean, as a parent, I think it's a different age.
How so?
How so? Because previously, I've been here before. We've had this conversation before. Previously, parents used to be at the forefront of this conversation. You finish your high school level and they guide you to what you're going to do after high school. Nowadays, they decide. They go look around, they decide, and then they come and do the course. Yes.
How is an education, if we look at education and how it was over the last few years and what we are looking at now, because obviously the Gen Z phenomenon has come in and is being applied in different spaces.
Yes.
And so now we're looking at an education where there were many requirements that were made of you to then be able to show for assessment of learning and understanding, and then of course testing. How has that changed with this new Gen Z phenomenon that we see today? Has education changed and the delivery of the same?
The requirements to pursue courses haven't changed much. Yeah, of course there's a KNQA authority, then there's for example the national diplomas, the NEC requirements are the same, and any other authorities that govern the entry levels are still the same. What you're looking at right now is the idea of a proper learning environment for a student in campus level. They are very particular about what they want to get into, and we have to look at the spaces we're getting them into and follow through and follow up on how they pursue whatever they have to. Going back to my space, which is NIT, I mentioned before that we are privately owned. We realize now, more than we acknowledged before that, for example, the student to tutor ratio is very, very, very important. Yeah, being in the technical industry, you have to be very particular about the student-tutor ratio. That way you're able to deliver value for money and then make sure that you don't graduate people who are going to fall buildings in the next 3-4 years. Yeah, they're able to go into professional bodies and show proof of what they have learned and the skills that they have earned before. Yeah.
So you're saying this generation is more woke. They know what they want. They are not shy to place their demands.
Of course.
Now, as a parent and as a dean, are all these demands realistic?
I would say they are very realistic, and we live in a different age. Like back then, literally, you graduate, unapatiwa enrollment list ya KMTC. What is this thing? It's an education thing. Yeah, you're told, go, enroll. And that is what you do, and you follow through, and then at the end of...
You're going to do nothing.
You're going to do nothing, that is it. Yeah? Nowadays, a student, a Gen Z, kind of student will tell you, well, this is your dream. I will not live your dream. This is what I want. That is why things like... I had never, in my time, I had never heard of animation and digital media design. I had never heard of fashion design. I had never heard of interior design. Okay, you're going to school to do what? To color walls. And then give me red and orange curtains. No, I had never heard of it. But nowadays, they have the authority, they have the space to declare what they want. And now it is up to the education sector to know how to push the students and the parents, because they're the stakeholders at the end of the day. They're the ones who are paying the fees, to educate them on what exactly the curricula is and how important it is for them to support who they support. Yeah.
So this child is basically placing their dreams and aspirations in front of a parent and saying, this is what I'd like to do.
Yes.
And then they're saying, I've also even identified. I have seen that so-and-so or so-and-so told me about NIT and I want to go to NIT, for instance, right?
Yeah.
And they come and they enroll. Obviously, they also come into your institution with demands, is what they expect.
Yeah.
I expect that we're going to be X number of people per class. I expect that we're going to have X number of lecturers. I expect that we are also going to be given free study time or this and the other. Are all those demands that they place on an institution such as yours realistic, bearing in mind that, I mean, you're running a business in as much as
Every proper institution has policies in place, academic policies, finance policies, administrative policies at the end of the day. Yeah, we have requirements to meet. You have to attend a particular percentage of class attendance, yeah. You have to show up in a particular way, the practicals and all that, the workshops and all that. With time, as at the point of entry, we make the rules very clear. When you put yourself in a field like built design, you know, as a matter of fact, if anybody claims to have been part of your institution and has their portfolio with your name on it and makes some particular mistakes, that it boils down to you. That is why we keep the policies in place and we are very particular about them. Yeah. So when you come to us and you're doing things that, for example, you're doing a course in plumbing, that is pipework, yeah, or masonry, you have to follow through the percentage of practical classes you have to attend for you to get a certificate. So it's not a briefcase kind of situation. So what covers everything and what holds us since 1997 is the policies in place. Yeah. You come or you go.
Okay. What characterizes the Gen Z? I think one of the things that you've spoken about was age, 17. So in this day and this dispensation in which we currently are in, what characterizes the Gen Z from what you've given is age. What else then would you be able to know that, okay, actually this person I'm dealing with is Generation Z and we're working in this, these are the things that we are looking out for that we have to work. How would you look, interact, associate with somebody for you to then know that this is actually the kind of person that we are dealing with in order to deliver this education differently?
It all boils down to the character. Not only the age bracket, but the character. And the Gen Z generation is not the kind of people that you throw around. They speak for themselves. So even education in the Gen Z era is very, very different. You don't walk into class with the mwalimu wa math idea. Oh, piga magoti, this is what has been done. Oh, this is the assignment. No. It's different. They come in with their issues and you have to be more, you have to have a listening ear. You have to understand them and get to know their attitude, then try and walk them through.
Why must you?
Because we must.
Why? Why can't it be for them to understand you? I mean, they've come to your class, you're teaching them.
It's education.
You're imparting knowledge to them. Then they start now dictating how you're going to deliver that knowledge.
It's educating them. Of course, they are less experienced. Of course, they have less exposure. Yeah. Of course, they have the wrong attitude for you to identify that they are in this space to learn. As educators, our job, our prime job is to put them in the space to understand. And the way they are being brought up right now, mostly, as I tell you that we're in the private sector, you have to know that they were not brought up the way that you would, of course, bring up your child, but then you have to understand and then guide them through. And still, at the end of the day, they still come out prime time. They thrive if you do it the right way. Yeah. The times for viboko, the times for scolding, the times for it is all over.
Really?
This is a time for guiding and counseling and understanding and then coming up with pseudo accounts to follow them on their Instagram handles and knowing what they're doing, because this is the time that they get into things like drugs and all sorts of things. So if you come harm at them, most probably, I'm not saying you will, but most probably 70% of the time you'll get it all wrong.
You know, I almost seem to hear you say that these are a different breed and type of human being.
Which they are.
But you know, generationally, this has always been the conversation.
Yes, of course.
And that is why the term the generation gap came into being.
Yeah.
One generation feeling they don't understand the other, one feeling they're not understood.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's some reality to it. But what I was thinking as I heard you speak, I was thinking, now, if you have an entire generation of very independent thinking people, yes, they want things done in a certain way, they question things. These are, in my opinion, all good things. Because it's from such minds that you get creations. It's from such minds that you get innovations.
Yeah.
Minds that are willing to question, minds that are willing to go beyond known boundaries.
Yeah.
Now, there's this little detail of what the marketplace requires.
Yes.
That's what your curriculum and the courses that you offer
Of course.
caters for.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So essentially what you're saying is, how do you fit this mind into this so that it actually works?
The first part of it is a thorough orientation of what the curriculum entails, yeah? The number of hours that they have to put in, the amount of work. For instance, we had a parent symposium on Saturday, last week on Saturday, and a parent was giving us feedback that they're very frustrated about how their child is not sleeping. They are working and working and working, and yeah, like my mental space is just out of it completely. And our answers were very, very simple. The curriculum has not changed. The amount of hours in a diploma in architecture is the same from 17, 20, 30 years ago. Why are you so concerned? Because we have come to a space where we are more concerned about their
well-being.
I think it's a babying age. Yeah, their comfort more than, we are open 365 days a year, all hours of the day. Why are you concerned that a child is transniting and you're supposed to be happy? There are people concerned about where their child is. Maybe ako kwa base. When I say base, you know what I mean. Yeah, you're more concerned about your child being in a studio and not resting because her statement was she didn't enjoy her birthday. And then the answer was she has more birthdays to come and she has to put in work. The Gen Z generation needs to realize that nothing has changed. They just take it more easy. Because coming from a parent point of view, we are in this perspective of, I want to make life easier for my child.
She can't suffer the way I suffered.
We have come from the narrative of, I walked to school for 17 miles and we spoke about this. Yeah, I walked barefoot. Now we're in the space of, I want to make my child's life easier. And that is what is affecting the entire generation.
So the problem is not actually the children. It's the adults.
No, it's the parenting. It's a parenting. We bring these children into the world, don't we? So how we are bringing them up is what is changing the narrative. But now that they're here, and it's our mistake, we need to change how we look at it.
NIT was born in 1997. So NIT is Gen Z.
Of course.
Right? So then, if this Gen Z is one that is training Gen Z in built environment and digital space and has got to understand them, so then has, for example, your institution remodeled itself? Has it had to remodel itself in any way so that it can address these needs of this Gen Z?
The answer is yes, and yes.
And what's that? You give them less homework?
No. We give them time to breathe. And we create an environment for them to be able to do so. Like I mentioned earlier, the kinds of courses that they take at NIT are very, very intensive. So we come up with things like happy hour. Okay, happy hour sounds some type of way, but
Happy hour of Bogoff.
Happy hour is just an afternoon of them letting go of the studio pressure.
Okay.
Yeah, you're off your desk, you come and there was an era where people used to fall off buildings in every architectural school. I don't know if you heard about it.
No.
It was a thing.
Why would they do that?
Because of the pressure.
So
The studio
too much
pressure,
work.
too much work and too much pressure. At NIT, we consider that, and we let them exhale at some point. We let them go to a sports club. We are members of Parkland Sports Club, for example. Yeah. We have other extracurricular activities, and we let them express themselves in particular ways.
Why is that important?
It's very important for a student to have an outlet, and we have an open door policy and counseling and mental wellness department. Because truth be told, back when God knows when you are in school,
God knows.
only God knows. This idea of I'm so stressed out, I can't sleep, I'm cutting myself, I am bipolar. Did we ever hear about it?
No.
Let's go back to it.
No.
Did you ever hear about it?
No.
By and by, there are more cases of mental illnesses.
Are
That,
they?
yeah.
Is it that there are more mental illnesses, or that we are now able to diagnose and determine what mental illnesses were?
We are more aware, and now we can listen to it. Before, we'd think there's a problem. We'd say, umerogwa. We'd say, what is your problem? We'd say, you're very lazy. Now we can understand that there's a cause to this. We can acknowledge and we can treat it. Yeah? That way, when you come to me with a particular problem, I can ask for, where is it coming from? How can I help? How do we go about it? Then I can follow through and say, how are you feeling right now?
And what do you find would be the case if you do not take those interventions? Because now we're looking, again, like you said, a different group of people who are going through an educational process. What would happen if you do not then approach with some of the things that you've spoken about now?
Then we are going to depress the entire generation because they're entitled to it.
No,
We
I'm
have
talking about those
created
who are in school at the moment.
Yeah.
And you find that you have to have an intervention where you're speaking out, where you allow happy hour, how many ever times a week, whereby you're saying, well, okay, let's give you time to de-stress and debunk. What would be the case if these activities did not take place in today's world through an education process?
I would think that they will still learn, but in a less comfortable environment. And then at this point in time, we are making decisions based on what is available. Yeah? And there are many, many other choices to make. And there are many, many other campuses that don't offer what we offer. Yeah? So they have a choice to do what they, to pick who they want to pick. But if you understand the need to decompress and what is available for you in the market, then maybe you're in a position to pick what you have to pick. Yeah.
What has been the effect of that, or the impact of that? For example, now adjusting, creating a happy hour, ensuring that they get time to breathe, time to unwind, having people such as yourselves, a career coach and counselor, and all these other offices and services available.
Beautiful work. The output is beautiful.
Compare that to previous years, like to before NIT decided, let's actually go all in and listen and adjust ourselves to our students.
The dull
and the
effect
nature of our
has gone
students.
off completely. You know, the kinds of days that you just wake up and think, it's Monday, I'm just going to have to get into work and I have to get out of work. Now you see students who are happier to walk in, present, and are proud of what they give. Yeah? You're giving them the space to produce, you're giving them the space to breathe, you're giving them the space to excel. that they're giving any creative, any person in design needs to be able to express themselves. So if you give them that platform, for us it works very, very well, and we're very happy about it. Yeah.
How do they transition to the workspace?
Of course, there are those who come directly out of the diploma level and get into the work industry, sometimes starting businesses. Some get employed, some decide to further their education. Higher education meaning they get into degrees and masters and all these kinds of things. Some decide to just go jua kali and do their thing. And we advocate for any of that kind of progression. Yeah, we don't support uenda fanya kuwa professor. No. For as long as we are a skill-based institute, for as long as you earn the skill, if you decide that you need to further it, well and good. And of course, there's room to progress. If you do a diploma at NIT, for example, in architecture, you can get into any other university and do a bachelor's and go into a master's. And of course, go to borax and sit exams, be a member of AAK and all that, yeah? If it's interior design, the same. Any professional bodies you can join. But if you decide that at the end of the skill-based program, you want to be an artisan, you want to be an artist, you just want to get into the creative space and be who you are, we also promote that kind of thinking, yeah.
So what kind of spaces do we see that graduates who are coming out? Because, so we're looking at a diploma, 2 years kind of thing?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
So what kind of spaces are we seeing that folks who then are into this, because it is a different kind of learning. It's an approach with, different mechanisms for control and progress.
Yeah.
So what kind of spaces do we see that graduates coming out of NIT in this generation space are picking up?
It's actually very interesting. That's why we call them Gen Z. I have seen a graduate of architecture get into interior design, to be precise, furniture, and they are thriving in it. Yeah? I have seen graduates of diploma programs going into degree level and getting out of it at the top of the class, but they're not pursuing what they went into campus to do. Yeah, that is why we call them the Gen Z. Their minds are independent. And that is why these kinds of artisan spaces and creative spaces, we allow them. When you put someone in an interior design class, you don't tell them do furniture, do lighting, do what. You give them everything that they choose. When I'm in animation, I don't tell you do 3D, do 2D, do lighting and After Effects, do graphic design. You show them everything, then I choose what I want to do, what I'm good at. So these particular kinds of students and graduates are very, very independent in what they do. So we have those people who have gone out of NIT, gone ahead and gotten a master's, even a PhD, come back and become professors in the industry, right? And even handhold and mentor other students. And then there are those who do a whole particular course, go into degree level, and wow, I'm now an artist, I do paintings. They decide. So what we are about in this industry is enable them, support them, then at the end of it, let them decide by themselves. That way, you don't get to choose what they want to do. We are way beyond the era of choosing what someone has to do, living our children's dreams. So the most we can do in this era is show them the scope, show them the areas, show them the variances, show them the range of works they can do, and understand their passion, and then they will choose what they'll do. Yeah.
One of the things that I find interesting with the conversation we're having is that we seem to have produced a generation of people who will keep us well suited and fitted into the 21st century. I'm going to explain to you what I mean. They'll grow older.
Yeah.
And one hope they don't fossilize and just become as staid and as traditional as their parents were.
Yeah.
But if that thinking of innovation is something that they continue with, when they get into positions of authority like you, I'm looking at a situation where these are people who are going to be designing courses.
Of course.
I'm looking at people who are going to be looking at where the future is taking us and what we need to do.
Yeah.
Now, when a country talks of industrialization and a country talks of how it is they want to be self-reliant, I would argue that the sort of students that we're talking about, the ones we're referring to as the GenZs, are the people who luckily take us there. Because they are thinking of what they want to do.
Yeah.
No, not what they want done for them. What they think can work. Now, countries that have gotten to the point where they are what we refer to as self-reliant, they have had leadership that understands that they have to get the population to actually think in a certain way and do certain things to be able to do what it is they need.
Yeah.
Because right now, we are still at the stage where people think they should be employed. Unatafuta kazi, unasoma, so that you can get a job.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where the mind shift comes in. That is where you let someone, you understand someone's passion, and then you give them the skill. What your hands can do, nobody can take from you. You will never unlearn what you learn. Yeah? We are in the era of, if I'm a painter, I'm a painter. If I'm a plumber, I'm a plumber. If I'm a mason, I'm a mason. If you understand building structures, everything, that is what you give them. So we are in this era of just let them learn a skill they can never unlearn, and then you have empowered them. It is up to them to decide not to use that skill. And the knowledge you accord them is what you give. Yeah.
There are issues that come around the question about hard work and not being pampered in this age.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether you're Gen Z, K, or Y.
Yeah.
That the question is, why pamper folks? People have come up from the era of hard work, having to sweat for everything that they did. Why pamper people to get them to learn? What would you have to say about that? Is it really pampering, or have we come to the place whereby, you know what, allow people to then be able to breathe and progress within their own space? So what is it exactly?
There's a nice way to do it. How I approach it is this. You ride them hard in the hardest way you can, right? But you also give them a vent, to excel. When I say, my director says, you will sleep when you're dead. That's why I told you we're open 365 days. When it's a pin-up day, we have 3 pin-up days. You know, with this kind of learning, we will examine you periodically. What you will learn at the end of the semester will be examined 3 times a week. You will improve it. And if your work is nonsense, you will be called out about it. As much as you're called out about it, we are also tunakusugua mgongo. Unajua unauma ukipuliza, that kind of thing. Yes, that's what we do. We understand that they think they're entitled to this, but we also tell them, wow, this is not how the world works. When I have a deadline, for example, I had something said the other week. If it's the 10 o'clock news, because your producer called in sick, you will not have it. It will have to happen. Deadlines have to be met. We are strict on discipline, on timelines, on everything. You don't attend 67% of class, you don't sit exams. You have a fee policy, you don't meet it, shame on you. At 18 years of age, that's what you're required to do. So you prepare them on what to expect from in the job market. By the time you're coming out, you're employable and you can be an employer, period.
Sounds like also the institution needs to have tutors who know how to deal with this particular peculiar generation, as you're saying. So are you saying that NIT has had to either retrain its tutors or deliberately hire people who may look like peers and mentors to these young people?
Of course, what is this called? Pedagogy. Teaching methodologies keep changing all the time, and there are these authorities that govern us. And we normally put our trainers into these trainings all the time to understand what has changed, to know how they handle what is going on, and to enable our students to be able to be the the professionals in the fields that they are in, right? So we keep training them in whatever fields we need to train them, and they keep updating whatever they have to do in the fields of training. Yeah, and of course you also have to change the learning environment. Back then, there used to be a lot of theory and less practicals. Now we are at 70% practicals and less theory. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
In that, then, have you had as an IT to look at your structure? You're teaching interior design, okay?
Yeah.
These are guys who are coming out of college and getting to a workspace, and they want to work in this place that open space. We want to have a garage, make this thing to look like a garage, and it's an office. The desks and chairs have got to look different. Does an IT actually look like that? Is it a creative space? It is a creative because it's a school for creatives.
Yes.
How creative is it? Do we have red and blue and purple and pink walls? Do we have
really? And that's what I said. That is what I said.
Hanging down.
That is what I said earlier.
And windows that are tilted.
Design is not about red and yellow and all that. We are a creative space by all means, and we use our spaces as our workshops. For example, last weekend on Saturday, to be precise, the painting class was painting the student center. Our walls are our canvases. Yeah, we let them express themselves. If we ever need redecoration, redesigning, we let our students run with it. Yeah, so we enable them. And maybe you should follow us on Instagram and our social spaces to see exactly what we do.
What's the handle?
At Nairobi Institute of Technology. On Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, everywhere. On LinkedIn.
Okay. Can I ask this question?
Yes.
What is the interface that you have with industry?
It is a very, very interesting question that you just asked. In the kind of industry we are in terms of training, we have to engage architects to teach students who are pursuing architecture.
Yes.
Quantity surveyors to teach quantity surveying.
Yes.
Civil engineers to teach civil engineering. Interior designers to teach fashion designers. So what happens is, as much as we enable our students, we let them dig and delve and toil for it. We give them exhibitions and everything. That way, if you're good at what you do, anybody in the industry who we engage in your studio spaces will identify with you. Okay. If you have the right discipline in class, you probably will work very well in the office. So what happens is, when we do our interviews and when we are engaging people to come and train students, we identify theory tutors different, and then when we are doing, there's something called studio that I keep mentioning in this interview. That is what 70% of what is examined at NIT. So if I'm an interior design student, I will have 5 interior designers in a class of 30, which makes 5 students accountable to 1 interior designer. That way I will not miss a point.
Let me explain to you why I'm asking. I was looking at an industry that is very similar to yours in the sense that it's a very practical industry.
Yeah.
There is an institution that was built that was called Utali College. It is still called Utali College. Is, all right? Now, the thing that you notice about Utali, it actually had a hotel. It actually had a restaurant. Meaning, whatever it is that people were being trained to do, those services, they actually offered them at a commercial level. You've got to
now I understand.
Yes.
We do have, of course, they have site visits, our students.
Yes.
They have site visits. If you're doing architecture, you'll go to a building site and you'll be exposed to that. Of course, we have industry experts who come in. Of course, we are in liaison with any other person in the industry that deals with the line in your career line. If you're in interior design, of course, when it's furniture design, we'll probably give you a few visits to Tile and Carpet, Victoria Courts, and anybody in that line. Yeah. So it is up to our very ready, able, and willing trainers who know which area they are training you in. If it's a particular subject of painting, I will take you. If it's glass, I will take you to Kitengela. Right? It is up to them. That is why we are very keen on our trainers. That way, you don't sit in a classroom for 3 hours and I let you imagine what this is supposed to be. I will take you to wherever else I have to take you for you to understand, experience it. We take them to drawing classes on Ngong Hills. Yeah? So we don't just teach within the classroom. In fact, 70% of our classes are not within our campus. You're on
So
site.
what? 70%.
Yes, you're in the workshop. We have a workshop right across our campus. We have a workshop. So I will not tell you, okay, just imagine there's a pipe and then, no. You'll go to a plumbing workshop and you'll actually do it. If you're painting, you'll paint a wall. If you're tiling, you will tile it. Yeah.
So let me further the question and take it to a different level. Does NIT have a business? Meaning, you teach construction. Do you have a business that does construction? You do interior design. Do you have a business that actually practices interior design? So that even when you're talking about the things you're saying, yes, the lecturers would be consultants elsewhere and they would be able to help. The very things you teach, do you have units that actually practice it in the industry?
All right. So, now let me give you the history of NIT.
Yes.
NIT was established in 1997 by one Mr. Gadesha Waweru, God rest his soul. He passed on. He was a practicing architect, right? So we are in the field of building. Yeah. So we have the experience of it, and we know exactly what it is to be in the built environment. And it started as a foundation course in architecture just to let African students pursue a course like architecture. That is how we built up into the diploma in architecture in JQuat, NEC, now civil engineering, now interior design, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Nairobi Institute of Technology, we can follow you on all. I've seen your Instagram, it's very active.
Yeah, very
Colorful students
very,
and the
yes.
environment. Teaching, education, built environment and digital space. How can people get in touch with the institution? Apart from following on social media and of course DMing website?
Of course, we have www.nit.ac.ke. Of course, you can call us on 0772 11 3360. I'll repeat, 0772 11 3360.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.